Okay, you know what? Sometimes even I make mistakes. I mean, that happens. I mean, it's going to happen eventually, right? And here we are. We're crossing that bridge now. I've made myself a little bit of mistake. I'm going to go back and I'm going to rectify it for you guys because it seems like this story is much more deserving of my attention than I was giving it. So, yeah, here we go. I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown, and retroactively in the past, yesterday as a matter of fact, Michael Kors announced an earnings call. An earnings call that at the time I thought, these guys sell handbags and shoes and we cover them all the time. I know this call's fine, but it really doesn't do much for me. Does it do a whole lot for you, audience? Man, I really want to know. I want to know if you want to hear about this. But as I went back and seen the coverage that it got, and seen the bump that Kors got, and seen the actual call itself in a day when calls from CBS and Cardinal and a couple other places weren't that good. And it actually, we didn't do an earnings call video yesterday because everybody's calls were kind of, it was fairly tepid for good calls. Let's just say I looked at this Kors number again and I thought, Cody, you're letting the viewers of Wall Street Breakdown down. They want to hear about calls like this. These are the type of retail brands that everybody knows, that everybody loves, right? I'm sure you've got a lady in your house probably right now, or at least a lady in your life, a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, or somebody that owns a Michael Kors product. It's a big company. When they got an earnings call like this, I should have done them the justice of doing it. So, retroactively, from yesterday, Michael Kors earnings $1.33 a share. That beat the street by 50 cents. 50 cents, Cody, you don't think that was important enough to tell people about? I apologize, people. I don't know what I was thinking yesterday. I was just thinking a lot of the earnings weren't that great. This earnings call was actually fantastic. Revenue of $1.15 billion beat the street by $100 million. That's a really big beat on a 1.15 million rev number. That's a 5.5% over year. So Kors is growing. They say, well, Kors, how are you going? How are you growing so fast? What's the deal? Michael Kors said, you know what? They're focusing on online sales. They're doing as much as they can, not just at the retail level, but out there with the customer in the place that the customer likes to shop the most, it seems like nowadays. Not brick and mortar, but online. Our products are still fantastic. We want to make sure we get them into the hands of customers the way they want it. So Kors is focusing a lot more on online. That's thinking. Not only that, but they brought on Jimmy Choo a while ago. They think Jimmy Choo's brand, not only adding to the top line number now, but Jimmy Choo is going to add about $1 billion potentially in revenue once they flesh this whole thing out. Now, of course, that's them just talking in-house, and they really hope that's going to happen, and I hope for them that they're right. But it's still good to have those type of dreams. They're thinking that. Let's just see them put the actual plan into action. And Michael Kors has been doing some good stuff so far. I don't know if $1 billion in revenue is going to be what Jimmy Choo does in a year, but $1 billion brand potentially is definitely what it could be. It definitely makes a lot of money for them right now. Let's see what they're going to be able to do with it, right? So they've upped their guidance to $4.59 billion for the year from $4.28. A big guidance bump as well. So they clearly think that this revenue is going to keep rolling in right through the Christmas season. And if you already own any kind of retail stocks, or you've been watching the retail sector, this might be a stock that you might want to take a look at. If you're in retail at all, or maybe you haven't been in retail, I can tell you that somebody through the Christmas season still has to win. You're still going to find yourself where there's going to be companies that are doing well enough to still justify brick and mortar as being a viable option because they're doing all the other things right, like the online stuff, right? So Kors knows that brick and mortar is something that's not, it's not always the best way to do it. And they're pretty quick to pull the plug on stuff when it doesn't work. See, this year they were expected to close between 20 and 40 stores, but they're actually closing between 40 and 50. Because they're really trying to streamline this business properly. They understand that not every idea works. There's no point in always trying to force a round peg into a square hole. If it's not working, sometimes it's because it really is broke. So there's no point in trying to just reinforce an idea that might have just been not poorly executed, but a bad idea to begin with. So why not close down the stores that aren't working? Pretty smart, right? That's why they find themselves sitting at a 52-week high. And yesterday when Michael Kors closed, They closed up 14%. They were up a very nominal 0.05% again to close the day today. But those are huge numbers. Coors with a big beat on earnings, big beat on revenue. They pushed companies like Fossil and Tapestry and a bunch of other companies up yesterday just to show that this actual style of the retail sector, this accessories brand, the next level of spending money. You don't need to spend $30 on a purse. You also don't have to spend $1,000 on a Louis Vuitton, but you could spend right in that sweet spot of $300 or $400, which a lot of people do own one or two of those. That tends to happen. This does end up being one of those luxury plays that fits right into that sweet spot. Coors is running a strong business. If you haven't already spoke to your licensed professional financial advisor about being in any kind of brick and mortar, and you know how I feel about this might be one of the companies that might be worth at least looking into. I'm not a huge brick and mortar fan, but I am a huge fan of good earnings calls. I should have done this yesterday. I apologize, so I'm back today with it. I promise to have you more earnings later on in a full earnings recap from what we got today on Tuesday. But from Monday, Michael Kors blew it out of the water. And there it is. I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, thumbs up for this video, all videos, thumbs up for even the earnings calls we don't do, and a little thumbs up for Michael Kors. They make great handbags. And if you haven't already, leave me a comment. Let me know why I don't need to be missing these earnings calls. We love hearing from you, and we love to hear about what you want to see. Have yourself a wonderful day.